There is nothing for me to wish from Astra. I wish you could be happy for all of eternity. But an even greedier wish of mine is, I wish to be the person who's always by your side when you find happiness.
There is a particular grace in how love dismantles the machinery of fate. It doesn't storm the heavens with violence or tear down divine edicts with rage. Instead, it simply refuses to acknowledge their authority, continuing to bloom where it was told to wither, to dance where it was meant to mourn, and to build homes and spaces designed for exile. This is what I would call the elegant anarchy of Iceborn warmth. Across 3 iterations of the same love story, we witness the evolution of resistance. Tower of Secrets presents love as a beautiful tragedy, accepting divine punishment as the price of defying Astra's will. Snow's Embrace explores love as a noble sacrifice, where separation becomes the highest form of protection. But Iceborn Warmth, it commits the ultimate heresy. It insists on happiness and togetherness. This is not merely a happy ending tacked onto a tragic tale. It is a systematic dismantling of every mechanism that enforced separation in the previous myths. The tower that imprisoned becomes a home discovered together. The jasmine that marked divine surveillance transforms into a celebration of union. The dance that could only happen in stolen moments becomes the foundation of a new reality. Each element that once served the cosmic order now serves love instead. The genius of this gentle revolution lies in its method. Rather than fighting the system, Iceborn Warmth simply builds a better one inside it. When the universe insists that the Foreseer cannot fall in love, Iceborn Warmth responds not with argument but with evidence. Here they are, cooking dinner together, buying flowers and making jokes. The domestic becomes divine. The ordinary becomes transcendent. Tuesday afternoon becomes forever. Iceborn Warmth transforms from within, creating a new order so beautiful, so natural, and so obviously right that the old rules simply cease to apply. It's not about breaking cosmic law. It's about discovering that love itself is a higher law and always has been. To understand the meaning of Iceborn Warmth, we must first dissect the architecture of control it dismantles. Tower of Secrets and Snow's Embrace are not merely tragic love stories. They are elaborate systems of divine surveillance, punishment, and enforced separation. Each myth reveals different facets of how cosmic power maintains its authority through isolation and the weaponization of love itself. In Tower of Secrets, divine control manifests as a grotesque parody of power. The Foreseer sits frozen on his throne, encased in ice, simultaneously the most powerful being in Phelos and its most helpless prisoner. This is Astra's cruelest joke, to make the jailer and the jailed the same person. The true genius of this system lies in its use of memory as a weapon. Astra manipulates his memories of her, plunging them into an incomprehensible mystery, a jasmine bud that never blooms and is out of reach. Love becomes a riddle that tortures the solver. The jasmine exists as a perpetual reminder of what cannot be remembered, cannot be reached, and cannot bloom. Even MC's illness, the cryoriasis that drives her to seek the Creatio Protocol, is part of this elaborate control system. The disease that can only be cured by the very thing that will destroy them both ensures that love and death remain eternally intertwined. Every path leads to separation. Every choice reinforces divine will. The Tower of Thorns is not just a place, but a perfect equation of suffering. Where Tower of Secrets controls through punishment, Snow's Embrace controls through distance. The Sacred Mountain creates a literal hierarchy, divine above, mortal below, with all entrances to the mountain blocked by divine will. This is a softer tyranny, but no less absolute. Zayne doesn't torture himself here. Instead, he slowly fades into his function, becoming indistinguishable from the mountain itself. The control mechanism here is more insidious. He teaches her that safety means solitude. The 100 umbrellas MC must craft represent the systemization of farewell, each one a practice for the ultimate parting, training her to accept distance as care. Both myths share a fundamental assumption that divine and mortal cannot coexist without catastrophe. They teach that love endangers the loved, memory itself becomes a trap, physical space enforces spiritual law, and time serves divine will. Most crucially, both myths position suffering as meaningful and joy as impossible. They create a universe where the highest form of love is letting go, and where the noblest choice is accepting fate. This is the ultimate control, to make those trapped within the system believe that their chains are actually wings, that their cages are actually homes, and that their separation is actually love. This is the architecture that Iceborn warmth must transform, believing that suffering is more meaningful than joy. It all begins with a few simple questions. What if the tower was just a building? And what if love wasn't seen as a betrayal towards a divine god, but was seen as just pure, simple love between two souls? Iceborn warmth demonstrates that even the most oppressive spaces can be transformed through the simple act of living in them differently. The evolution of the tower from prison to playground represents the most dramatic spatial reclamation. Tower of Secrets presents the structure as a giant cosmic prison, where everyone can be watched at all times. The tower doesn't just contain punishment, it is punishment. Its very architecture designed to remind Zayne of his cosmic insignificance. He is simply a vessel with no autonomy. The throne room crystallizes this oppression. Zayne sits ensnared in brambles, thorns wrapping around his arms, legs, and chest, literally shackled to the throne. The space transforms its inhabitant into an object, a function rather than a person. But in Iceborn warmth, the mysterious tower becomes an adventure discovered together. Where Tower of Secrets showed Zayne frozen in place, Iceborn warmth has MC playfully trying out the throne, while Zayne watches with amusement. Her performance, "We shall deploy 5,000 troops," and his deadpan response about playing a royal messenger who didn't dare to speak too much, transform the space through play. The spatial revolution extends beyond individual buildings to entire geographies. Both Tower of Secrets and Snow's Embrace use landscape to enforce fate. The frozen wasteland around the tower, the blocked mountain paths and valleys that separate divine from mortal. Geography becomes destiny, with physical space encoding cosmic law. Iceborn warmth rejects this entirely. The tower appears near the campsite, inserting itself into their chosen space rather than demanding pilgrimage. When it vanishes, MC and Zayne simply return to their apartment. The cosmic architecture has no power over them because they don't derive their meaning from it. The most revolutionary act is their decision to move their camping stuff into the tower's bedchamber. They don't adapt to the space's demands, they bring their own life into it. Camping gear in a cosmic tower is almost absurd in its domesticity, yet this is precisely the point. By treating divine architecture as just another building, they strip it of its power to define them. The library scene shows this same shift. When MC starts imagining how she'd fill the shelves with Zayne's medical textbooks, he surprises her with his own vision.
How about we put your books here? If there's room, I'd also love to add some feel-good stories with happy endings.
He doesn't just want to replace all those stories with happier ones, he specifically wants MC's books there too. In Tower of Secrets, Zayne spent centuries reading alone in that library. Now, he's planning which of MC's books should go where, turning what was basically a monument to his isolation into their shared reading room. The final scene of Zayne and MC in their living room completes the transformation. They've returned to ordinary space, but it's transformed by their experience. Sacred space isn't where gods live, it's where love lives. This is how they reclaim a tragic space, not destroying sacred architecture, but living in it so differently that its original purpose becomes irrelevant. When you bring camping gear into an isolated cosmic tower, when you dance in a library filled with sad stories but choose to imagine it filled with happier stories, and when you buy jasmine for your coffee table, you declare that space serves life, not the other way around. Now, if cosmic law depends on their separation, then touch becomes treason. Physical intimacy across these myths evolves from violation to salvation, charting how bodies learn to resist the architectures that would keep them apart. Skin against skin declaring independence from defined decree, and pleasure asserting itself against a millennia of punishment. Tower of Secrets begins with touch as literal transgression. MC's first contact with the frozen Forseer is aggressive, almost mocking. She calls him a plaything, testing boundaries with neck touches, shoulder caresses, and the slow removal of ice from his abdomen. Yet these violating touches serve a purpose. They awaken. The Foreseer, who has been perpetually frozen for eons, responds first with threats.
Your actions are testing my patience. Do you know what happens when fools disrespect the Foreseer? Winter punishes every wrongdoing in due time.
But even he cannot deny his body's memory of warmth. When MC later tries to heal him through touch during Astra's torture, the transgression transforms into tenderness. Her hands breaking the ice piercing his body becomes a metaphor for love's ability to interrupt cycles of divine punishment. Their single kiss, for the first and last time, crystallizes the tragedy. After lifetimes of distance, one moment of connection triggers complete separation. He slips away like sand falling between her fingers, touch becoming lost in the very moment of its fulfillment. The myth teaches that divine and mortal bodies cannot meet without catastrophe. Iceborn warmth revolutionizes intimacy by making it mutual, natural, and unpunished. The profound link between physical union and cosmic transformation becomes explicit when they spend their night together by the fireplace. That same night, while they sleep after their intimate moment, all the ice jasmines have blossomed, reminiscent of a sea of flowers their petals sway. The timing is revolutionary too. Their physical consummation triggers the overnight blooming. This reframes the entire mythology. In Tower of Secrets and Snow's Embrace, flowers bloom only after Zayne's sacrifice or absence, when MC is utterly alone. The blooming marks loss, separation, and death. But in Iceborn warmth, the flowers bloom in direct response to their union, their physical intimacy, and ultimately their togetherness. This is what should have happened in the original Tower of Secrets myth: consummation leading to celebration, not catastrophe. By allowing them to be together physically, something the Foreseer and MC could never achieve, Iceborn warmth completes the cycle of love that was always meant to be. Iceborn warmth dissolves the boundaries that previous myths insisted were absolute. You can argue that MC and Zayne are neither purely human nor purely divine at this point. There's something new, created through their connection. This hybrid nature appears in how they affect their environment. The ice jasmines bloom for them specifically, recognizing something in their joined presence that transcends mortal and divine divisions. The tower appears in their campsite as if drawn to their particular frequency. Even the spatial anomaly's timing, arriving just as they're camping together, suggests reality reorganizing itself around their refusal to be separated by cosmic law. Their bodies carry traces of multiple timelines, Zayne's muscle memory of dancers from other lives, and MC's instinctive care for ice jasmine she's never seen before. These are bodies that remember across realities, that carry love forward through cosmic resets. They're manuscripts of their connection, written over, but never erased. The physical consummation represents not just personal intimacy, but cosmic reconciliation. Where Tower of Secrets warned that Astra's tools can never fall in love, and Snow's Embrace insisted distance was protection, Iceborn warmth suggests that love and power can coexist in the same body, that divinity includes desire, and that transcendence might actually require touch rather than forbid it. This is real human intimacy, the patient, tender dismantling of every structure that insists bodies must remain apart. Through touch that generates rather than depletes, desire that includes rather than excludes, and connection that transcends rather than transgresses, they've proven that Anarchy might simply be two people choosing to hold hands in defiance of a universe that says they shouldn't exist in the same space. Every casual touch rewrites cosmic law. Every shared meal declares independence. Every night spent in the same bed says that some rebellions are won not through violence, but through the simple act of coming home to each other. One of the most important elements consistent throughout Zayne's memories is the role of jasmine flowers. In Tower of Secrets, the jasmine exists as Astra's cruelest innovation, a riddle without an answer, and a reminder without memory. The flower functions as both mystery and torment. Zayne knows it matters but cannot remember why. It is an unremovable thorn, a reminder of his past, of his failure to remember who he is. The jasmine's true violence lies in its persistence. Across countless loops of meeting and losing MC, the flower remains unchanged, a metaphor for his fragmented memories. When it finally blooms in MC's presence, it triggers not joy, but catastrophe, Astra's punishment, activated by the very sign of their connection. The flower doesn't just mark their love, it ensures its destruction. In Tower of Secrets, MC wakes alone after Zayne's sacrifice. I sit up and find myself in a field of flowers. Jasmines? The blooming represents fulfilled fate but empty victory. She has the flowers, but not him. Even in Snow's embrace, the blooming of flowers marks their separation and happens right after Zayne disappears from MC's life forever. The flowers are blooming. But this moment of beauty is tinged with loss. The sacred tree blooms at the precise moment when their separation becomes permanent. The flowers bloom not to celebrate their love, but to mark its impossibility. Like Tower of Secrets, Snow's embrace grants MC the sight of blooming flowers as a consolation prize for losing Zayne. The pattern holds across both myths. Flowers bloom when lovers part, beauty arrives with bereavement, and MC receives what she wished to see, but not who she wished to see it with. Iceborn Warmth stages nothing short of a kind of floral coup. The ice jasmines in the tower's library initially seem like another version of Astra's watching flowers. Zayne's familiar gesture as he gently strokes the ice jasmine, his movements so familiar as if greeting an old friend, suggests he recognises them from other timelines. But then the impossible happens. They bloom. This overnight transformation defies every rule established in previous myths. The flowers bloom not as punishment but as celebration, not marking transgression but blessing union. They bloom without triggering divine retribution, without stealing memories, and without enforcing separation. The jasmines bloomed in response to MC and Zayne's connection. In this way, the flowers switch allegiance from Astra to the lovers. In Iceborn Warmth, they discover together. The flowers bloom from joy and their union, not sacrifice. They get both the bloomed jasmines and each other. Most subversively, the jasmines maintain their role as memory keepers but flip its purpose. Where Tower of Secrets use them to fragment memory, Iceborn Warmth has them preserve it. The flowers that once enforced forgetting now ensure remembering. The jasmines choose to bloom when cosmic law says it shouldn't, in honour of a love that shouldn't exist, and ultimately creating a spring that was never supposed to come. When MC buys jasmine for their living room, she's claiming the symbol, stripping it of its cosmic weight while preserving its meaning. Now, in a universe designed for stillness, such as a Forcia literally frozen in place, the act of dancing becomes insurrection. Movement defies stasis. Rhythm rejects the monotony of cosmic time. Two bodies synchronizing declare independence from isolation. Tower of Secrets presents dance as the first crack in cosmic armor.
And you? What do you do? I thought humans only dance when they're happy. May I? We will both feel better if we dance under the snow. Would you prefer we do something else?
When MC reveals she dances when upset, she unknowingly articulates a philosophy of resistance. Movement as a response to pain, rhythm as a refusal to be frozen. Zayne's surprise at this revelation shows how foreign the concept has become to someone literally frozen for centuries. Their waltz in the library represents stolen time, carved from eternity's surveillance. As they step on the jasmine-shaped ice while snowflakes gently flutter about, they create a bubble of presentness within endless time. Zayne's admission that his body remembers the motions from the past suggests muscle memory surviving even in Astra's mental manipulations. The body remembers what the mind is forced to forget. Yet this dance carries tragedy in its very steps. It occurs in a prison, witnessed only by books of fate. When MC hums a melody, the same tune she hummed when watering the jasmine, she unknowingly weaves together threads that will trigger divine punishment. Their synchronization becomes evidence of connection, and connection brings catastrophe. The ceremony's priestess dance in Snow's Embrace functions as a meta-narrative, revealing the cosmic pattern that governs both Snow's Embrace and Tower of Secrets. When Zayne explains the ritual to MC, he unknowingly describes their own tragic choreography across multiple timelines.
Courtship. Humans choose the most beautiful woman to be a priestess and dress her up like a goddess to invite a god to descend from the heavens. The priestess sings about her love for the god, then uses her dance to lure him out. She listens to his prophecy and then they consummate their relationship. What are you doing? You're the one who wanted to watch the ceremony. I'd like to see that. Right now.
This mirrors MC's role perfectly. In Tower of Secrets, she arrives at the tower dressed as an envoy, a false identity that disguises her true nature as someone beautiful enough to awaken the frozen god. In Snow's Embrace, she's the village girl whose unique spiritual sensitivity draws Zayne's attention. She's always the chosen one dressed up in roles to bridge the divine-mortal gap. The dancer's lure plays out literally in Tower of Secrets when MC's humming and their library waltz lures Zayne from his frozen emotional state. Her confession of dancing when upset, their synchronized movement on jasmine-shaped ice, all of this draws out the humanity buried under centuries of divine duty. In Snow's Embrace, her very presence on the mountain, her eagerness to learn, and her innocent questions all function as a different kind of dance that pulls Zayne from his isolation. Here's where the pattern becomes tragic. The ritual promises consummation as the natural conclusion of divine-mortal meeting, but in both myths, this promise is brutally subverted. In Tower of Secrets, their single kiss, for the first and last time, becomes the moment of ultimate separation. Consummation equals dissolution. In Snow's Embrace, the growing intimacy between teacher and student must be severed before it can bloom into physical union. The 100 umbrellas become practice for saying goodbye before they can even say, "I love you." This is why Iceborn Warmth's dance scene is so revolutionary. When MC and Zayne dance in the bloomed jasmines, they're finally completing the priestess's ritual as it was meant to be. No luring necessary because both choose to be present, no prophecy because they're creating their future together, and consummation that creates rather than destroys. They've broken free from the priestess's choreography of doom and written their own steps. They are simply two people in love moving in harmony. In the Sea of Bloom Jasmines, the very flowers that once policed their love, Zayne and MC exchange vows that systematically dismantle every cosmic law that kept them apart. This isn't a wedding in the traditional sense, but something far more. It's a declaration of independence from divine will, spoken in the simple language of human love.
Meeting you is the luckiest thing that has ever happened to me.
This dismantles centuries of cosmic determinism. Zayne, who as the Foreseer dealt him prophecy and fate, now speaks of luck, random chance, fortune without divine plan. He's celebrating accident, coincidence, and the beautiful chaos of finding someone without cosmic orchestration.
Like these jasmines. After a never-ending winter, I met the one who brought spring into my life.
The jasmine metaphor transforms from curse to blessing. Where Tower of Secrets jasmines represented his failure to remember, here it represents rebirth. The never-ending winter acknowledges his frozen centuries without self-pity, while positioning MC not as someone who needs him, but as someone who saved him, the active agent who brought spring.
This space may not last forever. However, I promise to give you more beautiful memories. Every day, starting from this moment.
This is revolutionary acceptance of impermanence without tragedy. He doesn't promise to stop time or achieve immortality. Instead, he promises what any human lover might, to make each day count. Every day grounds eternity in daily practice. The physical interruption of his speech with intimacy shows how natural touch has become between them. Where Tower of Secrets had one tragic kiss before separation, here, kissing is conversation, punctuation, and emphasis. Zayne's inability to get close enough to her reverses his centuries of enforced distance, from pushing others away to never wanting to let MC go.
I wish you could be happy for all of eternity.
This wish begins traditionally echoing the grand pronouncements of his foreseer role. It's the kind of cosmic wish a god might grant a mortal: happiness forever, protection from suffering. But
an even greedier wish of mine is, I wish to be the person who's always by your side when you find happiness.
The word greedier changes everything. Greed is human, selfish, and honest, not divine virtues. He's not content to wish happiness from her from afar. He wants to be there. He wants to witness it, share it, and be part of it. This is Zayne claiming his right to want something for himself.
I want to witness every flower bloom in our future together. Will you give me that chance?
He's choosing to experience rather than control. The flowers become metaphor for all of life's moments, and he wants to see them all. Our future together casually assumes what previous myths said was impossible: shared tomorrows. Foreseer, who sat frozen on an elevated throne, now kneels. The hand that once commanded cosmic power now extends in request, not command. This is proposal as revolution. Divinity choosing to kneel before humanity, not in submission, but in recognition of what matters more than power. This is something Astra cannot comprehend.
Then, let us make a vow in a sea of jasmines.
The Jasmine Sea that witnessed MC's solitary grief in Tower of Secrets now witnesses their mutual joy. The flowers that bloomed for death now host vows for life.
We'll always see the flowers bloom together.
This single sentence rewrites the entire cosmic equation of jasmine and sacrifice. Throughout every iteration, Tower of Secrets where jasmine bloomed only after Zayne's death, Snow's Embrace where flowers marked permanent separation, the pattern was absolute. Blooming meant loss. MC could have flowers or Zayne, but never both. The universe's cruelest trick was granting beauty at the precise moment it became meaningless. But this promise shatters that false binary. Wheel demolishes the singular sacrifice, always transforms from the Foreseer's eternal torment into lover's eternal choice. See the flowers bloom acknowledges what they've already proven, that jasmine responds to union, not separation, that flowers bloom from joy, not death. They've already witnessed this truth in the library where ice jasmines burst into blossom after their night together, responding to consummation rather than catastrophe. And finally, together, the final word that challenges everything, the promise that they'll witness every blooming side by side. This vow doesn't fight fate, it forgets fate exists. By speaking like lovers anywhere might speak, making promises any couple might make, they've stripped cosmic weight from their connection while keeping its meaning. Iceborn warmth doesn't simply provide a happy ending, it actively refutes the inevitability of separation that defines the earlier myths. By taking every element that caused tragedy and transforming it into a source of joy, the myth argues that fate is not immutable. The tower becomes a home rather than a prison, the library a place of wonder rather than loneliness. The jasmines bloom in celebration rather than doom, and the dance leads to life together rather than eternal parting. The myth's true triumph lies in not avoiding the conflicts of its predecessors, but in demonstrating that love can transform even the most cosmic of curses into blessings. Where Tower of Secrets asks whether one can defy divine will, and Snow's Embrace explores the price of protecting others, Iceborn Warmth answers that when two people choose each other completely, even the architecture of fate must reshape itself around their bond. This is why their love is a threat to Astra. Astra will become powerless if anomalies like MC have the power to reshape fate this way. His existence will be meaningless. What was once a legend of tragic separation becomes the story of two people who found each other across impossible odds and chose to stay together, making their own spring after an eternal winter.